Last year my son and I planted a pear tree from the nursery. That's a moonglow pear. We had a moonglow pear back at our old place that I grafted onto a rootstock. It was a very successful graft. And it produced pears because there were wild pear trees in the area. And so this one just bloomed a couple of weeks ago, and now all the flowers are gone and I see no pears. So that means that nothing is producing pollen at the right time. So I need more pear trees. But we can do something about that. Now last year, after I had lived here for about a year, we were walking the dogs and we found this tree here in the old pasture. And my son was working at a nursery and his boss was here and he said he thought it was a quince tree. So I didn't see any reason not to believe it. I bought a stick on eBay for Anjou pear and grafted buds on. I grafted a bud down there and one here and one here, and they were successful grafts. So now I have an Anjou pear. But what I've come to realize is that this is most likely not a quince tree. Because another thing I've been hearing a lot about recently is Bradford pears, which were very popular as a decorative tree in years past. But nowadays it's really fashionable to complain that Bradford pears are an invasive species and when they bloom they stink and they're just horrible. And maybe that's true, I don't know. But as it turns out, I guess they are invasive because there's a Bradford tree over there across the road in my neighbor's yard. That tree, right down there, that little one, that is a wild pear tree, or I should say feral. Wild implies that it's native. Feral means that it's just not domesticated anymore. That's a seedling from the Bradford pear. A lot of them have spiky thorns on them, and they're very vigorous growers. And this is an area where I've planted a lot of seeds and grafted some stuff because this is going to be my little orchard. So this is a pear tree from, birds spreading seeds around, and you can see how it has the big thorns on it. These are pretty gnarly. But I tried several different grafting techniques on this tree. This one is the split. Oh, hi Chuck. That's the one where you split the stick and stick the scion in it. And then this one is where I slit the bark on the trunk and put the stick under the slit and then taped it up. This one here is a bud graft. And I made another bud graft right here. And then up here the tail end of the stick was still remaining, so I grafted on top. That one looks like it might have died. But I think I'm going to get at least one or two growing on that. Another grafting project I did is these wild plum bushes. I'm not sure where these plums are native to, but they grow wild around here. And they propagate profusely. So there's the oldest one, and then there's a bunch more here. It's just a big stand of these wild plum bushes. And last year I got some plums off of them. They're pretty good. They were about the size of large olives, but they all had bugs in them, so that was no fun. And I bought a plum stick on eBay, and it looks like it's probably dead, I think. I don't know. This one, on the other hand, this one's starting to bud. This is called Flavor Grenade Plum. It sounds dangerous, but I'm willing to risk it. Here's another one that looks like it might still be alive. It's right there. That's nice. When this place was owned by the former owners, there was a pig pen on the other side of the fence here. And yeah, I was over here the other day and I just happened to look over there and I saw this tree, and well, I'd say that's a wild pear tree. None of these wild pear trees make pears because they're seedlings from Bradford pears, which don't really make pears. They make little berries that the birds eat and spread around. People usually cut them down and poison them, but I think it's a lot more interesting to graft something on there that makes good pears. Now, you might think it seems silly for me to do a video about grafting where I don't demonstrate any grafting techniques, because maybe you wanted to learn how to graft. There's a lot of grafting videos on YouTube, which is how I learned how to graft. So, but when you watch those, you might wonder, does it work? How well does it work? You know, if you try this, are you just wasting your time? But that's what my video is for, is I learned by watching YouTube videos. And now I'm showing you that I used the techniques that I found on YouTube, and I grafted my sticks and buds, and now they're growing. Here's another one of my projects. I found this little cherry tree here next to the driveway. This is where I grafted the whole stick on. And then these are grafts where I grafted a bud here and a bud here, and they're starting to grow. This is a Stella cherry grafted onto a wild cherry tree that grows prolifically here in central Missouri.